Okay, the first thing you have to do is take off the rear view mirror. To do that, you have to have these two shells come apart. They're basically two halves, and you have to pry them apart. They have little clips on each side that hold it together. Basically grab them from the center with your fingernails and pull apart until you can get at least a couple of them, and then you might be able to slip something plastic in between and pop them off the rest of the way. Then you have to take the rear view mirror itself off. To do that, it's pretty easy. You just rotate the entire mirror counterclockwise and it pops off. You'll have to disconnect this electrical connector and the mirror is out of your way. Okay, to remove the upper overhead panel from a M3 E9x version, best thing to do is use a little pick tool like this. Take the little light sockets out, reach in with the pick tool and grab the metal tab that is sitting behind that light switch, pull on it, and you can lower one, take the pick tool out, go to the other side, do the same thing, and the panel drops down from the front. Okay, after you've removed the panel, you've got to take all the wires out of the panel to get it out. You can see there's 4 main plugs that are pretty easy press and pull to remove. And this 5th one here is a little more tricky. It's got a little tiny tab right there. You can press down on that and pull that small wire out. Be careful doing it. That's your SOS wire. You could end up breaking that wire. Okay, the next thing you have to do to get power is find this. It's the first connector, or first big connector, going from one side from the, it's actually not the SOS connector, it is the microphone connector. But in this next bundle over, you got to find the 3rd wire along the top. It's green with a yellow stripe on it. That is the only one that has a good solid voltage on it. And then the other one you've got to find is a ground, and I'm going to use this single brown wire going into this one connector. I'm going to try that. If it doesn't work, I don't know what ground I'm going to use, because up in the compartment there are no screws like in the E46, unless maybe you have a one without the carbon fiber roof. If you have a sunroof, you might be able to find a ground, but otherwise I'm going to use this big brown wire from the single connector. Okay, got it all back together. I velcroed the connector up along this kind of recessed area. I zip tied my wires into a bundle with the fuse to protect it. I've tapped into the one wire here, that's the green with the yellow stripe, and I ended up on the ground, basically going into the back of the connector with a wire to use it as ground. I didn't want to cut that wire or reduce it in any way, so I stuck it into the back, got it good ground, and then I zip tied them together so that they won't come apart. Once you do that, get all your connectors back together. Test everything before you put it all back together and see how it looks and how it works. Okay, so the final thing I did was I ran the telephone cable from the plug itself. Make sure I ran the extra wire out through the headliner, between the headliner and the windshield. It's pretty easy to do. You just pull down a little bit on the headliner and it fits. Make sure you leave yourself a little bit of excess. You can always, tuck it back up in there, or tuck this wire up underneath the visor if you're not using or you take it out while you're in the store or something. But it gives you plenty of flexibility. Take all these wires and make sure that they're out of the way. Make sure everything works. All your gauges come back to normal. Your airbag light goes off if you've been using power. And put it all back together. Should work just fine. Put your mirror back on. Good to go. Okay, to put the headliner panel back in, make sure you go from the back first, plug it in, and then you'll swing it up to the front and it'll click into place.